Hi, I work for Rush Team Apparel, and we'd like all of our employees to have a good sense of how event booths are set up. This video will be focusing on the smaller booth operations of Rush Team Apparel, but in all scenarios, all activities are the same. Let's get started. The booth setup begins by creating bins with items from our warehouse stock. Our staff knows what to send to an event by fulfilling a bin list. Each bin list states exactly what and how many of each item is sent to an event. Most small events will have 2 bins. You will know how many you should have by looking at the bin list on the exterior of your bin. Once bins have been created, other items for the event are gathered, including clovers, letter sets, and garments, and then loaded into the trailer. Items for events may be dropped off at a school, arena, or stadium and left in a locker for employees to pick up at the start of their setup, or occasionally an employee may come to the warehouse and pick up a vehicle loaded with their event items to drive to the event. Now that you have an understanding of how items get to an event, we're going to focus on booth setup. The setup has 8 steps. Once you've arrived on the site, introduce yourself to the tournament manager and ask where he wants your booth set up. Your binder will be located in the brown box inside the clear bin. Inside you will find the binder. The cash zippered pouch with the starting cash is where all the cash should be returned at the end of the event. A pen, rubber bands, large amounts of cash, and price sheets are held in here during the event and not in an overstuffed cash drawer. Any mail orders taken at the event will travel in this box or with this box. Special instructions on the correct way mail orders are to be taken are in another video. Begin to sort all of your inventory boxes into similar piles of garments. Find your projection and tally sheet in the front pocket of your binder. Confirm that the garment numbers listed on your projection arrived at your site. Write the numbers on the tally sheet. The tally sheet works well to count all of your items in. List the items here. Fill in your numbers according to your box label. Part B of this step is to make certain you have all of the pieces to set up the booth, including a clover, press, bins, customization items, including possibly pre-built names, and the brown box. Step 3 of the setup process is to set up your tables. Most times this will be a typical square formation, but many events have a specific setup for the booth, which you will find in the binder for many specific state event sites. At this point, add your leg extensions to all of your tables. Now you can add your tablecloths. Just a note, the WIAA logo tablecloths are used only for state events. District events use solid black ones. Add the clamps to keep the tablecloths from slipping. These clamps will be used as bag holders. Now we are ready for step 4, which is setting up the extension cords. Let's briefly go back to the bin list, which shows you the lengths and sizes. The press draws a lot of power, much more than the clover. Particularly, if there is more than 2 presses drawing power from an outlet, this can be a problem. At the large events with multiple presses, specific arrangements are made to assure the power supply is large enough to handle our operation. The blue, red, and yellow cords listed with the tags 12 or 14 gauge are generally the press cords. The orange extension cords, which are 16, 18, or 20 gauge, are used for the clover setup. The last step is to plug the press in and turn it on. The press needs at minimum 20 minutes to heat up. We are now on to step 5. We will briefly go over shelving units. Most events will have shelving units. These units come wrapped together. Cut the wrapping, place the bottom shelving down, put the narrow end of the poles into the bottom of the unit. Add the next shelf and build up the unit. All 5-level shelving units are filled in the same manner. At eye level, the 4th shelf up, are the smalls. Below that, the mediums. Below that, the larges, and on the bottom shelf are the extra larges. The double extra larges and triple extra larges are on the top. When selling to large crowds, this simple, consistent setup helps keep garments organized for all sellers. Multiple garments may go on the same shelf, just keep the sizes on the correct shelf. Step 6, the clover setup. The first thing that must be done is getting connectivity. To figure out how to get connectivity on the clovers, please see our other training video. The Clover sits on top of the cash drawer. The Clover is ready for operation, and now the starting cash is in the cash drawer. Setting up the selling area.
The selling area at state and some regional events includes putting out baskets with pins, patches, customization forms, and staplers. This area may also hold the beanies, caps, and bears.
Our final step of setup, step 8, is to set up the customization area. The letter sets have a rubber band to keep the box closed. It should always be wrapped back to front. Should the garment need a logo on the front, attach the transfer. If you have a box of common names, place these first, then schools, events, and numbers, and then your letter sets. Make an area to build the names. By the time the garment gets to the press, all the necessary items to be pressed should be attached to the garment. An empty clothing box works well for garbage at the events. There you have it, a complete booth setup. Now you're ready to sell. Have fun.